Aloha everyone, Joshua Hayes at BigWaveTrading.com. First off, I want to thank everybody that watches this video lesson. I'm a horrible marketer and promoter, but a friend watched my video this week and he was like, man, you don't even ask people to like, subscribe to your channel on your videos. Well, I don't like doing that, but you know what? He's right. If you guys can, if you do enjoy the content, if you are learning something, especially if you're making money, if you could like, subscribe, or even help me out by commenting on these videos, I'd like to get this to more people because we have handled this market pullback extremely well at Big Wave Trading. I believe I've had a good finger on the pulse the entire time. And subscribers, members of the website have been making money. And I'm going to review the long-term portfolios, the quarterly portfolio, my current swings and position trades, and my uh, what I'm trying to get in my day trades by living on Maui. But it's been very good for members. So the first thing I'm going to discuss is this V ramp off the lows. Guys, do you have in your bingo cards a V ramp to new all-time highs? I don't have anybody that has that in the cards, but the way that we're trading, low volume or not, we might as well. I am a bit concerned that we went from the sky is falling to everything that I read, watch, or hear being that we've bottomed. But my camp of what I read, watch, and listen to is trend following based, is can slim based. So I basically, everybody that trades like me is what I basically, it's almost like confirmation bias, but it's not because I'm a very unbiased individual. I don't really take sides. Price is all that matters to me. But when everybody is in agreement, even if it's in my camp, I'm like, I don't know. So I kind of warned about it yesterday, but today's price action, that's impressive. We're solidly above the 8 and 21 EMA, not shown on this chart. We've got a second day above the 50 SMA with the higher low close above it. And even though there's been no real accumulation after that bottom, there's also been no distribution in this market. So that is a positive for sure. And what I really want to discuss whenever you look at all of these charts, the DIA, really don't mind, but the IWM is also above the 50 SMA. The QQQ second close with the low a day above the 50 SMA, above the 21. We get the 21 back over the 50 SMA. We get this 50 SMA to curl up. I would love to see the market pull back for some great setups. And actually, I'm going to review a scan that I haven't reviewed yet. And if there's any new long signals, we will take them together. And just like members and subscribers to my website, you're going to get the trade idea before I even place the orders. So your orders can front run me. So if I have an order for 5,000 shares and you have an order for 10,000 shares and there's only 10,001 shares available at the open at the price, I'm only going to get filled at one. You're going to get the 10,000 because your order is going to be first in ahead of me and you're going to get filled before me. So I do this every single evening. So first off, with this recent market rally, I got to let everybody know that's not a subscriber or member. In the long-term portfolio, I initially nibbled back here, and I made it very clear it was a nibble on the 200 SMA, okay? So that's full transparency. I was early. I nibbled a little bit on the 200 SMA, but made it clear it was a nibble. Then on April the 3rd, when we were finally in crash mode, I let everybody know I was taking a bigger nibble of certain stocks and ETFs. Then on 4/4, I let everybody know at the end of the day, I am taking a large chunk of the long-term portfolio account capital and buying before the close on this session. So I bought before the close in the long-term portfolio on this session, bought before the close in this session. The only thing that I semi-regret is that when we were gapping down after hours, I did not buy the open on 4/7 like I bought the open back here in August. I bought this panic open. It was the first long-term portfolio accumulation of the SPY QQQ for months and months and months because we've done nothing but rally. I bought the panic here. I did not buy the panic here, But by the close on the end of day basis, before the closing bell, I let everybody know I'm all in. All of my account capital in all of my long-term portfolios, all in, 100% long. I have since added more money to it because I like to piecemeal into my long-term portfolio by purchasing about 2 stocks every month, no matter what. And one stock has sold off hard recently, looked like it was finding a floor. Since then, by the way, the market, pretty good buys here, here, and here, huh? Compared to where the market is. But today the market was up 1.5%. The stock that I bought in the long-term portfolio that I posted to everyone before I ever entered my order was up 3% today. So more outperformance there. That's just the long-term portfolio. Then on February 19th, we reconstituted the quarterly portfolios. Guys, that's 10 stocks, 10% of my account capital in each, hold for 90 days, full stop. Doesn't matter what the market does. My true benchmark for that portfolio is ARC and FFTY. I want to beat these two ETFs, but I definitely want to beat the market. The quarter before, from November to February, we 4x'd the market return. We did 4 times better. So I don't know what the market returned then, but you could do the math, but let's just pretend like it was 5%. The quarterly portfolio was up 20%. This quarter, as the market sold off, I haven't updated it since April 30th, but based on my crude calculations, the quarterly portfolio is down 12% versus the SPY's negative almost 10%. I am rounding up, so it's about negative 9.5%. However, that quarterly portfolio lagging by just 2% or 2.5% compared to what has the ARK fund done since then. ARKK during the same period is down 22% versus my down 12% quarterly portfolio. The FFTY is down 18% versus my negative 12%. So I'm keeping up with the overall market despite being in extremely high growth names. And you want to know why? Because names like Netflix is in the quarterly portfolio. It's also in my long-term portfolio. Names like PLTR is in the quarterly portfolio. It's also in my long-term portfolio and what I consider a forever hold. Then we have the swings and position side. And since MRX, I'm going to show you here. So we initially went long MRX here. Now, I am super tight with my stops. Before 2012, I did not use stops. I waited for end-of-day sell signals. I still track these names after I issue a new swing position on an end-of-day basis. Since this is how I track the stock on an end-of-day basis, we currently have 21 stocks that since I initially alerted this as a new swing trade that I'm taking, which, going to remind you, I let you know ahead of time before I purchase it that I'm getting long. You have hours sometimes before I even enter these orders on my Interactive Brokers Trader Workstation because my swing position accounts are all at Interactive Brokers. So you can see VSTE, you can see the arrow. It's not doing anything. Why? Look, it's a small price stock. Lost the green bop. This was the original signal waiting for it to trigger. So this was the signal date right here. It didn't trigger till here. But right here, when it lost its green bop, I reduced size by 50%. And you're going to see where that's also harmed me. Because the very next stock I'm going to review is ATGE. ATGE was a good to cancel buy stop from my squeeze scan that we will review. I wanted to get long above this high of the day, and that's what happened yesterday. However, what also happened yesterday was a big intraday reversal on heavy volume. I considered this a fake out breakout. Now, normally when that happens, I reduce size by 20% the very next day. However, I let everybody know I'm going to reduce size by 50% tomorrow morning. And unfortunately, that is what I did. I'm human. I sold 50% of this stock at the market at the open for basically a 1%, 2% loss. It's right around there, 1 to 2% of the 10% of the account capital that I put into this, because when I initially got long, I used this level as my sell stop because earnings were coming up on May the 8th. I decided to use this level instead of this level. This allowed me to only put 10% of my account capital into it. After getting out of half of it in the morning, 5% of my account capital is in this stock now. Up almost 7% today while the market was only up 1.5%. So once again, more outperformance there. Will I be taking some profits on Monday morning? I sure will be. Earnings is on May 8th. I can't risk being caught in a WGS. It's not worth it. Not in this tape, not without more ebb and flow. So ATGE is in there as a recent long position as well. So VSCE doing nothing, tiny anyway because it's pure junk. ATGE is quality. That's why it was allowed to get to 10% of my account capital, wanted 20% of my account capital into it, would have probably received that because I would have been calculating to this low instead, but with earnings coming up, couldn't do it. Then there's MRCY. You can see where on an end of day signal, we went long. Guess where I got knocked out? Right here, because I keep tight stops, but it never triggered an end of day sell signal. TMUS, you can see where I went long TMUS on an end of day basis. Hasn't triggered a 100% end of day sell signal. Triggered a 50% end of day signal here, but never triggers a 100% sell signal. AEM, there's the entry, same situation. Guys, I got too tight with my stops in March and April and I got knocked out. What I should do, and what I keep talking about doing, is trading one account and then interactive brokers on an end-of-day basis where I only sell based on 50% and 100% end-of-day sell signals instead of the way that I currently trade, which I have to admit, the older I get way more risk averse, exponentially more risk averse. I am definitely not who I was in my 20s. When I was first trading, I was very aggressive. And you will see I do get aggressive whenever there is a good stock. We'll get to that again soon. But there's HWM. Look at HWM. You know where I got knocked out as. But on an end-of-day basis, never triggered a 100% end-of-day sell signal. LRN, same thing. And we're just going to review. CTM doing nothing. Gauze doing nothing. And by the way, if the stock's under $10, you know I don't have any real size unless the signal is what I consider a grade A signal. There's none of those in there. There's Sprouts Farmers Market. Spot. Look at where the white triangle is. Look at where we're at now. AHR. Look at where the white triangle is. If I was still trading on an end-of-day basis, still be long. MNPR. Look at where the white triangle is. IBEX, look at where the white triangle is. MRX, now this is the one right here. This is a almost grade A signal. No red bop in this chart. Volume truncation, max green bop, hammer candle off the 21 and 50 SMA. 60% of my account capital went into this. And after the very next day, I almost, because it was 2R. It was 2% of my total account capital at risk. That's how I got to 60%. If it would have been 1R, it would have been 30%. But following that day, I was like, uh-oh, I might lose a full 2R on this. My stop's the 50 SMA. Look at how close I came to getting a full 2R loss on that. So I sold 20% like I normally do at the market open the next day. Did that. Since then, beautiful run. If I was trading on an end-of-day basis, I would still have the full position with a 16% gain. ATGE should have been just a 20% sell in the morning, but instead it was 50%, just like MRX was only 20%. Mass, you see the white triangle. Bow, you see the white triangle. Kit, you see the white triangle going nowhere still. Once again, below $10. You know I don't have a position anymore, but even if I did, it's not that big. TMQ hasn't triggered a 100% end-of-day sell signal. KINS hasn't, and KINS is interesting because I have a $20 requirement for my weekly squeeze scan, and this stock was in that weekly squeeze scan. If you remove that $20 requirement, beautiful squeeze scan, beautiful breakout. But this reversal right here is why with the ATGE reversal, I was quote, quote, nervous, okay? So KINS is really the reason with ATGE having earnings coming up for that tight stop. And then there's NCPL. So you can see on the swing position side, you can see how I operate. I get 2 MRX signals. I'm 120% long, just 2 stocks. So that's how quickly we can get fully long. So even though since the market's been rallying, I've only had 2 long signals, MRX and ATGE, If I had the full positions that I wanted, it would have been 60% in MRX, 20% in ATGE, 80% in my account capital in just 2 stocks. So that's the swing position side. Following today's session, I don't have any new long positions, but I also don't have any sell signal out of these 21 stocks I'm tracking on an end-of-day basis. Now I want to take you to my squeeze scan because I told you we're going to go through them again. On my daily squeeze scan, which by the way, these are run on Telechart version 25, but I'm a dinosaur. I love using version 7. I can see the price bars better in the version 7 than I do in the version 25. But as you can see on the daily squeeze scan, we don't have any stocks after today's session. On the weekly squeeze scan, we have 10. And actually, this should be 11. So there's one missing here already. I don't know where it went, but that's neither here or there. We'll review that later on. Maybe one dropped off, and in the most recent update where I updated this, there's only 10. So here's what I'm looking for. None of these, in my opinion, are actionable, but I'm going to tell you exactly what I'm looking for in all of them. Well, I don't know if they are. We're going to find out, actually. Sorry, guys. Like I said, I'm not a professional video creator, content creator, editor, marketer, promoter. I'm just a trader. But GEO, beautiful cut pattern forming. You can see it on the weekly chart pattern. I need a handle. I need a pullback to the 50 SMA, 21 EMA, and a pocket pivot point signal for an entry, or I need a handle. And with I'm sure earnings are coming up too. CRS. I was contemplating doing a buy stop above this high of the day. I personally didn't think the handle was long enough. Whoops. But I'm still, from this pattern, I see a cut pattern forming. Give me a handle. Good to cancel buy stop limit order will go above this high of the day. So I'm very interested in GEO. I'm very interested in CRS. I'm monitoring them. Already long ATGE. UTI, it's a bit wonky for me. So I'm not really interested in this one unless I can get a better formed handle or a huge, I'm going to need a real signal, kind of like that MRX for this one. So I'm going to need to see that volume bop surge to even think about it. But UTI, possibly. AGX is way too early. I need a handle here. Roblox, anytime a stock that we know is in this scan and you check out its earnings and sales growth and you see that it's canceling quality, it's in play. Roblox is in play. I was hoping that I was going to get a little bit higher. So this day, not that day, this day. So now I'm hoping for a handle to form after yesterday. Instead, we got more gains. So I'm looking for a base on base pattern to form, pull back to the 21 EMA. Extremely interested in this one. So GEO, CRS, Roblox, top of the food chain. APEI, I just don't like this technical pattern. It can run without me. SMMT, absolutely not. With this bar, with that volume, no. Just no. DoorDash, it's in the long-term portfolio. I have a cut pattern. This is high, high, high on the list. I would love to see a handle form. Buy stop limit order would go above the high of the day. And or looking for a pocket pivot point signal, one of these spikes in this indicator off the 50 SMA or 21 EMA. And then there's LMB. And because it's got all this green bop here at the end with this strong relative strength line, I'm really interested in this. I know nothing about its fundamentals, but if I look up and if I see everything's green on the metrics that I look at, if I see that sales growth is 20% or more, especially, top also goes on top of the food chain list. So right now, LMB, Dash, Roblox, GEO, CRS, all interest me. CXW has fallen off the list, but CXW was in the scan. It is of interest. It can set up. And then the final time frame that I track, intraday. 3 stocks in my scan to watch. Kids into the close. I can only trade because I live on Maui. I'm strict about this right now for my own personal sanity and for my wife's personal sanity, and so I don't spend all of my time doing this besides just going longboarding every once in a while. I can only day trade from 2 p.m. to 3:45 p.m. Kids is so far extended from the VWAP at this time, it's not in play. SOPA hit my scan early, but it just rolled over into 2 p.m., so it wasn't in play. There was only one stock that I was tracking after 2 p.m. PLRZ. When it failed at this is called an Oracle level. I use stocks to trade as my intraday scanner and charting platform. This is an Oracle level from there. When it failed this level but held above the 200 EMA and VWAP, I was very interested in buying a reclaim of this level. But this arrow right here is 3:45 p.m. Once I hit 3:45 p.m., I don't trade because after hours, you can't use stops. And everything I do is based on buy stops and then having protective stops below it. And without that ability, with my ADHD and with my very heavy workload, I'm not able to trade after hours comfortably. I just suck at day trading, but I'll never give up. I'll figure this shit out. Pardon my language. If it's the last thing I do on this earth. But PLRZ, the only stock I was watching that I was hoping to do this from 2 p.m. to 3:45 p.m. from the entry to the high, you have a 65% gain. So that's what I do. Listen, we take losses all the time, but we cut them short. We never suffer big drawdowns. And I'm very in tune with the overall market. I only get bearish under quantitative tightening environments and interest rate hiking environments. When it's QE and rate cut environments, sorry guys, I'm buying the panic. Super long video lesson, everyone, but I just wanted to let everybody know if you're not a member, you really should consider it. It's a nominal cost. There's a lot of different time frames that we operate under, and you can ask members during this entire market sell-off. I've completely cut my head about me. I never once complained about the sell-off here. I never once panicked here, and instead did buying on the way down. And if we happen to roll over and make new lows, I have capital in my bank accounts that will transfer over to these long-term accounts, and I'll buy the panic all in because to me, it's all about demographics, and I don't see that changing anytime soon till at least 2035. All right, everyone. Please like, share, subscribe if you found anything valuable within this video lesson. I'm sorry there's no new swings this Friday, but anybody that took MRX from 2 weeks ago, you should be sitting pretty. Aloha.